Alright guys, here we go. Game number 3 of WhiteRa versus Titan on Daybreak, the map of epic games. Once again, going to be our game number 3 here in this great series. This is it, ladies and gentlemen, all or nothing, and look at this, still with the smiley face, our wonderful red Protoss spawning up here in the top right of Daybreak. Will he be able to take game number 3? Game number 2, a little bit of Colossus miscontrol, cost him the game there. What can he do to close it out? Will we see some special tactics? Ladies and gentlemen, WhiteRa. And his opponent spawning in the bottom left position as the blue Protoss, doing very, very well in game number 2, holding off that push with the Colossi and doing a lot of damage with those Blink Stalkers when he finally moved out. Great decision to use that there in the close by air positions. Let's find out if he can take game 3. It is Titan. And wow, what an incredible series, and I'm really sad that one of these guys has to bow out of the tournament so early on. It's really unfair, to be honest. So many really good players. I mean, I know Thor's Inertio was a matchup in the lower bracket earlier as well. So early on in the tournament, it's so surprising. And it's simply because the skill level at this tournament is so unbelievably high and there's so much at stake. Everyone is playing their absolute tip-top best. And I really do think that almost every player here at the European Continental Finals has the capability of taking games off of anyone else in the tournament. There is no single matchup in this tournament that you could say, put these two players together and one player will never take games off the other. It just won't happen. The skill level is too close. There might be favorites, there might be some people who are better than others, but there is no one that's untouchable here, and that's what makes this tournament so unbelievably exciting to watch, and even more exciting to play and cast, no doubt. So, fairly identical opening so far from both players, grabbing their cybernetics core at almost exactly the same time. And Titan last game went for his second Vespene Geyser quite early on, indeed, in aid of that robotics facility into Twilight Council. Is he going to be doing the same again? There we go, second gas, but also second gas being taken by WhiteRa. So both sides in game number 3 deciding to go for that early tech. No one gas special tactics coming out of WhiteRa this time. He's going to be playing a straight up tech game. So let's see whether these players agree. And both go robotics facility or something like that. Could we see a robotics facility versus Twilight? It's entirely possible. Hasuobs isn't in this game, so we haven't seen a Stargate yet. But of course, in PvP, that is viable. We've seen him do it on numerous occasions. I suspect we're not going to be seeing that between these two players, though. They don't tend to favor that kind of play in their PvP. In the meantime, the robotics facility is now out for WhiteRa, so he is going once again into one gateway robo, grabbing his second gas earlier than he did in that last game as well. So that to me suggests that he wants to be mining a bit more gas. He doesn't have so many minerals to work with. He's not going to be going up to 4-gate warp prism or something like that. He's probably going to be going Observer, followed by Immortal, maybe into a robotics bay, because he has been favoring that Colossus style. In the meantime, we also have the robotics bay coming, robotics facility rather, coming up from Titan. A slightly slower timing. He has used some of his gas to grab a sentry or two as well, and he's actually moving out with his first couple of units towards WhiteRa's side of the map. First Zealot and Stalker at his opposing watchtower now, with a probe going to be putting down a forward pylon, so WhiteRa looking to have to defend early on in this game. In the meantime, he's going to be sending his own probe down to the southern position of the map, so he should be able to sneak past this army here from Titan and get a forward pylon down, as long as this pesky probe doesn't bump into him first. But not too much to worry about at the moment. He's going up to 3 gates and a robotics facility, and he actually went for that Immortal first as well, so that's going to be very, very solid for WhiteRa. His probe's still hanging out in the middle of the map, and Titan has not caught it yet. He has a probe of his own trying to scout around, but WhiteRa's probe is very much ahead of his, and he won't be able to see it for quite some time. In the meantime, we've got gateways number 2 and 3 and a robo popping out as WhiteRa scares away the army from Titan with the first Immortal popping out. Second Immortal on the way, and as predicted, we have a robotics bay here too. So it looks like 3-gate robo into Colossus, fairly normal, and Titan once again going to be going for his expansion. So we have a 1 base versus a potential 2 base Protoss here in game number 3. Titan really favoring the macro-oriented style, whereas WhiteRa really hoping to smash his opponent open while he has an advantage on 1 base before potentially getting a 2nd base himself. Let's see which of these styles ends up being prevalent later on in this game. We have got an observer now, just going to be checking out the main base of WhiteRa. We'll not see the robotics bay until a little bit later. In fact, we'll not see the robotics bay until very much later, because he's not actually scouting that bit yet. And there we go, the robotics bay has been spotted. So Titan knows that WhiteRa once again is going for that Colossus push. Now, is he going to push with his first Colossus like we saw in game number 1? That would not surprise me, because he did a very good job of taking that game quite convincingly indeed. And the Colossus there, of course, will be able just to stomp past any force fields that Titan chooses to put down at the choke. So we could potentially be seeing a push. Here comes the Colossus. It is rallied out to the army, and it looks like WhiteRa already sending the army to the northern position to meet up with a forward pilot and move forward towards Titan's base. Titan now has the natural expansion up and running. He is currently up 32 to 27 supply as far as workers goes, but WhiteRa is up in terms of army supply. The Colossus is now on its way. And I think WhiteRa is looking to finish the game with this push. He just wants to, in fact, destroy the destructible debris there to make it that much more difficult for force fields to completely cut him off. Titan going to try and stall for as long as possible, but now that the Colossus is with the army, he is able to stomp through any potential force fields. The probe making a couple of forward pylons once again. Colossi doing a good job on these destructible rocks. WhiteRa will be able to push up very, very shortly indeed. This reinforcing pylon is going to be so important into this attack. There are 2 immortals with each side on this attack. The Colossus crushing through those force fields. Only the first one, though, unable to get up to the second one. WhiteRa needs to risk it and move his Colossus up to the front if he wants these force fields to disappear. But it looks like he's just waiting for the energy on those sentries to go at this point. He really needs to get up the main base of Titan right now, though, because he is continuing to mine a decent amount, and WhiteRa will very slowly lose the economic edge that he may have had earlier while Titan was trying to get his 2nd base and spending 400 minerals on that Nexus. Right now, the economic advantage is definitely with Titan and will continue to grow, growing further into the game if WhiteRa does not do something right now. 81 versus 83 supply, and Titan's getting a lot of gateway units to support these 2 immortals up here on the top of the ramp. A decent number of sentries, 3 of them, 1 at least with 2 force fields worth of energy, and the second one with 1 as well. So we will be able to throw down a couple of force fields. What is WhiteRa making in the meantime back home? He isn't actually going for any additional Nexi or anything like that. He's looking to smash this with the 1 push, and here he goes. He's going to be moving that Colossus forward to try and break those force fields, or is he? No. Once again, he pulls back, and Titan is continuing to hold off WhiteRa. The longer time that passes, the more WhiteRa is going to feel the pressure here. He did manage to pick up an immortal from Titan just then, which is fantastic news, but at the same time, he hasn't been able to make any sort of decisive advantage pick, and here we go. The Colossus now being targeted down by the Stalkers. The Colossus might actually go down here, and it does, and all of a sudden Titan has a much larger gateway army than WhiteRa, but WhiteRa has 2 immortals to the 1 from Titan. Will WhiteRa be able to hold on? It's not looking great at the moment. He's moving back down the ramp to get a better concave for his units, warping in more and more zealots, and WhiteRa needs to go soon or concede the game, because Titan is mining off of 2 bases. Titan trying to force the issue himself, coming down with his immortals. WhiteRa now with those 2 immortals still at full health, moving out, but he has those sentries so delicately poised at the front of the army there. He doesn't want to risk losing them all instantaneously. And once again, WhiteRa has to pull back, but he is now down 66 to 89 supply, and he's actually abandoning the attack. He's getting extended thermal lance for his Colossus, but Titan is just mining more minerals than WhiteRa is at the moment. He has been able to take his natural expansion and hold it. That was the story of this game. Titan desperately trying to hold on at the top of his ramp, preventing WhiteRa from coming in with his 1 Colossus push. WhiteRa wanting to come up the top of the ramp, wanting to make sure that Titan can't get anything done, and at the end of the day, it was Titan that managed to prevail. It looks like a single zealot from WhiteRa is going to get spotted by Titan here. He is now mining happily off of 2 bases. He has gone up to 5 gateways, a robotics facility with a warp prism on the way as well, and a robo bay about to pop up too. His observer is still in the main base of WhiteRa, sees that he has not expanded, and knows that as long as he stays 2 base versus 1 base, he should be in fairly good shape. He can see the robotics bay is researching. That is likely to be extended thermal lance, and WhiteRa still on 4 gateways only. So this This is potentially looking bad for WhiteRa if Titan can get his act together and just get more and more units to reinforce this army. The Warp Prism now going to be heading up towards the top of the ramp, I'm guessing to harass the mineral line when the engagement takes place. He needs to be very careful though. Oh dear, the Warp Prism gets spotted. What's he doing? He's actually completely destroyed that Warp Prism. I do not understand why he sacrificed that, but unfortunately, Titan throwing away that Warp Prism. So I guess if it was going to be used for harassment, that is no longer possible. That's going to annoy him a little bit. He is still up in supply though, 116 to 92, now 122. He's about 30 supply up on WhiteRa, and he's a base up as well. So if WhiteRa doesn't make something happen very, very soon, he's completely and utterly screwed. And here we go, good force fields trying to separate the Zealots. Excellent concave at the bottom of the ramp for Titan. WhiteRa stomping those force fields with the Colossi there just briefly, but he needs to micro a little bit better with the Colossi to try and make sure the force fields are no longer a problem. Titan still posturing here against WhiteRa. He is mining more and more the longer this goes on. Good force fields there from WhiteRa now, trying to stop Titan from doing so much damage, and those Colossi with extended thermal lance doing a lot of damage from the high ground, but the Immortal able to catch one of them, not quite killing it off though, and WhiteRa getting a very nice engagement, but Titan still 20 supply ahead. Titan needs basically to wait for his own Colossi and just needs to be careful at the moment, because WhiteRa is still on one base. So why do you want to throw the kitchen sink at your opponent when you can just continuously get more units? And he isn't getting that Colossus out right now. He hasn't started extended thermal lance, which I probably would want at some point soon. But Titan is just trading space for time right now. He wants to try and not necessarily crush WhiteRa's army, but just whittle it down enough so that WhiteRa cannot go for a kill move, and then Titan should be able to win with the economic advantage. Good force field there. Excellent 3 force fields from WhiteRa as well, but now Titan has his own Colossus out, and WhiteRa needs to be oh so careful when engaging this army. He knows he has extended thermal lance and Titan doesn't, so he is prodding away at this army with these 2 Colossi who have a decent number of kills between them. They actually have 11 kills between them at the moment, and Titan just doing a great job holding on, but he needs to hold on just a little bit longer. He is up 110 supply to 76, but WhiteRa doing so much damage with his Colossi. He's doing so well with his micro right now. He's doing so much with so little, and WhiteRa might actually take this engagement. It's all going to come down to this one engagement right here. The extended thermal lance from WhiteRa doing so much. Moving forward with the Immortals are Titan, and 1 Colossus is at 4 HP but still survives. Will the rest be able to survive as well? No, the Immortals going down for WhiteRa now, and it looks like Titan is going to be having enough. GG, the Colossi go down, and it looks like Titan, ladies and gentlemen, completes a 2-1 victory over WhiteRa in the lower bracket, knocking WhiteRa out of the tournament. Congratulations to Titan. What an incredibly close PvP series, especially coming back from 1-0 down.